Werner Herzog's Stroszek is not a manifesto, it's not a protest, and Herzog himself would deny that it's political at all. What makes Stroszek so haunting is that it never tries to critique capitalism, yet it ends up exposing its failures more clearly than films that do. Through the eyes of Bruno, an ex-con, Ava, a sex worker, and Mr. Scheitz, a man spiraling into delusion, Stroszek shows us what happens when capitalism encounters people it can't profit from. People who are too strange, too broken, too inconvenient to be useful. It shows us that the American dream is not a dream at all, but a machine. And if you can't keep up, it keeps on moving without you. Bruno, Ava, and Mr. Scheitz arrive in Wisconsin with a kind of cautious hope. Fragile, exhausted, but real. They move into a trailer home, buy furniture, a television, a few possessions. It's modest, but it's enough. This is their fresh start, their American dream. This is how the promise begins, not with wealth, but with ownership. A couch, a fridge, 4 walls, a roof. The trailer home becomes a foothold on the ladder, a symbol that you've entered the system and that you're finally on your way up. In Marxist terms, this moment is saturated with commodity fetishism, the belief that happiness, security, and even your identity can be found in objects. The American dream just doesn't promise success. It teaches us that owning things is proof that we're becoming successful. The television isn't just for watching. The furniture isn't just for comfort. The trailer isn't just shelter. It's status, the illusion of belonging. The American dream is not destroyed by violence. It dissolves under the weight of its own logic. Repossession is not a punishment, it's a function, a correction in the system. Bruno is the proletariat, the working class. Not because he is in a factory, but because he lives in a world where his labor and his life are owned, not by himself, but by capital. Under capitalism, the means of production, the tools, the housing, the vehicles, even the social systems belong to the bourgeoisie. Bruno never owned his life, he only rented it, on borrowed time. He was allowed to participate in the American dream, but only so long as he could keep paying for it. And now that he can't, the system reclaims what it always owned. This is not failure, this is exploitation at work. Bruno exchanged what little he had, his labor, his hope, for temporary access to comfort, and when he could no longer produce or consumed, he was discarded. This is what Marx means when he says the proletariat is exploited. They are forced to operate within a system built against them, working for wages that only ever cycle back to the people who own the tools, the land, the loans. Ownership is an illusion. What you don't control, you will eventually lose. Bruno is not evicted from a home, he's evicted from the promise of upward mobility. Not because he did something wrong, but because the system was never designed to hold him. He is part of a class allowed to dream as long as it serves profit. From here on, Bruno is no longer even exploited. He is simply irrelevant. The system moves on without him, indifferent, automated, endless, just like the machine. Bruno's final descent into alienation happens not in the factory, but in the mechanical hum of the ski lift. It is a ride that never stops, a loop of repetition that runs automatically, indifferent to who is caught in it. That is the cycle of capitalism, the endless loop of consumption, production, and disposal. Bruno, who has been failed by every system that promised him the American dream, becomes one with the machine. The ski lift, a mechanical, repetitive force, becomes his world. In Marx's view, under capitalism, humans are alienated from their labor, from meaningful connection, and even from themselves. Life becomes mechanical. It moves without purpose, and Bruno is no longer a subject with agency. He's just another cog in the machine. He has lost any real sense of connection to his labor, his purpose, his humanity. Now, he is simply going through the motions. This moment of repetition mirrors the heart of Marxist critique. When people who are reduced to mere workers in a system of production, they cease to be fully human. They become alienated from meaningful labor. They stop creating value or purpose. Instead, they move through an endless cycle, performing actions that seem necessary but lead nowhere. Bruno, like the machine, goes on without a destination, without choice. a mechanical force in a world built to consume his energy but never return anything of value. It's not just Bruno who's trapped in the cycle of mechanical motion. The animals in the fairground are trained to perform meaningless tasks for no one. In Marxist terms, these animals, and Bruno, are both victims of commodity fetish. Under capitalism, the value of life is stripped down to what can be exchanged, what can be commodified. The chickens dance for nothing, just as Bruno moves through life with no purpose, beyond surviving the system that controls him. They perform because they've been trained to repeat, just as Bruno goes through the motions because he's been trained to consume. But neither the animals nor Bruno are truly alive in a way that matters. They're just commodified life, reduced to the mechanical repetition of meaningless tasks, hoping for a reward that will never come. And then the fairground, the supposed symbol of fun, joy, possibility, becomes a ghost town. There is no joy here, no laughter, just machinery that's still running, without human presence, without connection, without life. This is capitalism's ultimate failure to humanize. The system works tirelessly, but only for those who can produce. Once you stop producing, when you become irrelevant, the system excludes you entirely. It erases you. Bruno seeks an escape, but there is no resolution here, no redemption. Under capitalism, those who no longer produce are discarded, and the world keeps moving. The ski lift keeps running. The fairground continues to hum with mechanical noise. The world remains indifferent to those it leaves behind. The lift keeps going. Even after Bruno is gone, the world of production continues. A world that turns indifferent to the people it exploits, that leaves behind those who no longer fit in. In the end, Bruno's fate is not unique. In a capitalist system, the proletariat are endlessly exploited, working for the benefit of those who own the means of production. And when they can no longer contribute, they are forgotten. The machine never stops.